Grayzone Warfare, the much anticipated first-person shooter, has just been released, but is it any good? Let's discuss. Hello everyone, my name is BurningWiki and welcome to my channel. And before I get started, I would like to ask you all that if you do enjoy my content, then please subscribe to the channel. Now, I have been waiting on Grayzone Warfare the moment I have seen the first trailer of it, and I have to say, and I won't lie, I am kind of disappointed by what I've seen thus far. For full disclosure, this is not my full review of the game, but more of an initial observation of what I've seen thus far, so keep that in mind. It is a early access game, costs €35 for the standard edition, €45 for the elite edition, and you can also buy the game with the supporters pack, which will cost you €65, and that, my friends, is a lot of money for an early access game. And for that kind of money, the game better impress me, and I have to say, it does not impress me at all, which is a shame. The game has a solid foundation and it looks good, but it lags and crashes all the time. The first hour after I downloaded the game, I could not even play because it kept telling me I had some anti-cheat software problems. After that, it told me I had network problems, but in reality I had neither. So after 2 hours of trying to play the game, I just gave up, and I came back later that day to try the game again, and finally I could play. The performance, even on my i7 with 32 gigs of RAM and my RTX 3070 Ti, was not good. The game lags and stutters. Even when I turned my settings down to medium, the game still lags and stutters when I'm in the helicopter. When I'm walking around in the jungle or town, it is fine, but the helicopter rubber bands like crazy. Now, this game has the same horrible gear system as, for example, Marauders does, and that means you start with a bunch of gear you can equip, and when you die, you lose it. If you die enough times, that will mean you will end up with nothing more than a knife, and this is where the problems start for this game. Now you will be running around with just a knife. People will go into PvP and team kill geared players with the knife, steal their gear and log off, and there is nothing you can do about it. Grayzone Warfare has the potential of becoming a very toxic game because of things like this. Let's hope that does not happen. Some system needs to be in place either to prevent this from happening or punish players from doing this, like some sort of karma system. And if your karma gets low enough, you will be put on a separate server with all the other low karma players. Players who bought the supporters pack and thus received premium gear, and yes, this is a thing, even reported their game crashing and they lost all their gear, even the gear and items in their secure pouch. And yes, this game falls in between a pay to win and not pay to win game. The supporters pack gear or premium gear will be added to your account after every reset, giving these players a big advantage over players who will just have to grind and fight and loot for more gear. This kind of mechanic never sits right with me, and again, is this or is this not pay to win? I think this is the real gray zone in this game. In the best case, it is adding a predatory game mechanic into the game by the dev team. They make a game in which all likelihood you will lose all your gear, and then they give you the option to buy new gear with real money. For me, this is like a doctor who makes you sick and then sells you the medication to make you feel better again. It is a predatory system that should never be in any game, because the devs create a problem and then sell you the solution. It is really awful. And for those who do not know what pay to win means, that is a option to buy things with real money that give you items or an advantage in the game that normal players do not have by playing the game in a normal way. And I'm still not sure if you can consider this a pay to win game, but it is a awful way to squeeze extra money out of your player base. It really is. You also have the option to go into the PvE and try to get some gear, but the enemy AI is really good and can spot and shoot you straight to bushes. The quests are boring and lifeless. It is way more fun to just walk around on the map and just explore it. The AI also always seems to drop the same gear and never any bandages or a bigger backpack, if that even exists, because I have not seen it thus far. Movement feels very clunky, the sights on the weapons seem very small, there is no option to put your face closer to the sight like a mini zoom in. The map itself looks great, even on medium settings, but I am sure the real tryhards will just play the game on low settings, as you get less shadows and less foliage, and thus giving you an edge, and of course you will get more FPS. Then there are players who want to play with their friends, but they cannot because they chose the wrong faction and thus are stuck on that faction side they chose until the server wipe. So if you plan on playing with friends, make sure you all choose the same faction. When starting the game itself, it tells you nothing. When you start in the base game, there is no tutorial, no markers on the map. The game simply throws you in the base camp and you will have to figure everything out for yourself. The UI itself is very simple to navigate, but when you point at a piece of gear, it does not tell you anything, not the name of what the item is or what it does. If you are new to these kind of games, then you will have a very hard time figuring everything out. In my opinion, this is just laziness on the parts of the developers, and it's going to be an exercise in frustration for most players. Grayzone really needs a tutorial that explains to players how everything works. I did not find any chat I could ask other players for help, or even an option to talk to other players using a headset, which is probably a good thing in the long run, because again, this game has the potential of becoming a very toxic game. In the end, I do not think this game is worth 35 euros in its current state. Yes, it is early access, but that does not mean you can deliver a game in this state. If it was 20 or 25 euros, I would be a lot more forgiving. But if you are planning on buying Grayzone Warfare, I would just wait a few weeks or even months, because this game needs a lot of work and love before it's in a better place. I hope this review was helpful, and if it was, please leave me a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all next time.